Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? Happy Friday. I hope you're having a great week. You're staying cool. We are truly in the dog days of summer. It is hot and humid as hell outside. But hey, we got what? Maybe another month of this, and then things will cool off. So, or at least start to cool off here in Atlanta. Anyway, not a whole lot going on this weekend. I don't know how long we're going to be on here, but I figured I'd go live just to see if any of you guys want to talk. Phone lines are open if you want to get on here and talk on any subject. It's all good. The new issue of Ring Magazine is out. It is the special Oscar de la Hoya issue. And of course, the male people here, as you can see on mine, they put the address label, the shipping label, right on the front, right over the headline to ruin my special edition. You know, because why the hell would you do that when you could put it right on the back? And of course, on the back, we got the KO tickets ad, my man Jim Boone. And Jim, I love you, but I'd rather the shipping label go over your head because I already know your number, than the front right on the headline of my magazine. The shipping people, what are they thinking? Don't they know that ruins it? Anyway, guys, so the new Oscar de la Hoya special issue is out. So make sure you guys check that out. And go ahead and smash that like button while you're at it. As always, guys, I remind you, if you're not subscribed, I remind you every Monday over at the Ring Digital YouTube channel. Well, now you're watching on my YouTube channel. Most of you guys, 99% of you are subscribed. But the thing is, YouTube likes to unsubscribe people. So make sure that you're subscribed, please, and you click that notification bell and let us know, let everybody know about the channel, right? Get the word out, because I don't do ads. I do ads here on my channel, but I don't do any ads promoting my channel anywhere or anything like that. So I need that word of mouth. Anyway, man, it is hot out. It is even hot here in my studio. I'm turning red because I did a little bit of road work this week, but man, I got the lights on and whatnot. I've been working outside. Yeah, see right here on my neck. Oh, well. Anyway, we got a fight between Joet Gonzalez and Isaac Dogboe tomorrow. They both made weight today. Solid scrap. I think it's going to be a fun fight. Decent card, keeping some of those younger prospects busy, keeping some of these older veterans busy in a nice matchup in the main event. But we are in the dog days of summer, as they say. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The schedule is going to start heating up. Late next month, we get Usyk and Joshua 2, and then we go into a nice little fall schedule. We get the rubber match between Canelo and Golovkin. Now, it remains to be seen if some other big fights will be put together. I've given up hope on Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. I was super high on that fight getting made because there really are no roadblocks other than greed. Honestly, straight up, just greed. And so if that doesn't happen this year, I'm sorry, you can't blame Grandpa Bob no more. That's 100% on Al Heyman and the PBC. And if the fighters are demanding more money than you feel they're worth, that's on you, homie, because you've been overpaying these dudes. And look, I get Terrence Crawford might price himself out. That's up to you as the promotion, as the management, to negotiate that and make everybody understand. And there's a way that you can make this whole thing work if the fighters really want it bad enough. I really hope that fight happens. It would round out a really good year. I don't think we're going to get the Taylor Serrano rematch, but there's that really, really good all-women's doubleheader coming up in London. I think it's September. I want to say it might be right before that Canelo Golovkin fight. So that's solid. And then there's a couple others. Look, the heavyweight fight between Andy Ruiz and Luis Ortiz, that's a good fight. Does it belong on pay-per-view? Absolutely fucking not. But that's what they're doing over there at PBC with who knows what happened with that Fox money and that budget. They signed that deal 4 years ago. I don't know what happened. But Kevin Fuentes in the chat says, I heard Crawford is asking for too much money. Yeah, it's not the first time he's done this. And listen, Bob Arum at Top Rank, they walked. And I think they had good reason. Crawford's difficult. You know what I'm saying? And I've talked about this before on my show. He's just difficult to work with. A lot of people that have worked with him have said that, have told me that. And it's up to PBC now because they've been telling everybody for years, the only reason this fight ain't happening, it's because of Bob Arum. Well, he's no longer in the way. So if you can't get this fight done, then basically everything you've been saying for years has been bullshit. So it's on them to get it done, man. There's no roadblocks. If he's asking for too much, make him understand. Present him with the data, with the information, and, take care of him on the back end. Give him a 3-fight guarantee, rematch clause, whatever he needs to feel that he can get paid on the back end of it or something. But get it done. Find a way to get it done because everyone's been wanting that fight for a long time. All right, we already got a call, so let's jump right to it. I think this is Suleiman up in the Bronx. 718, you're on the show. What's up?
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, man, this is gonna be a good fight for this weekend for me. I'm gonna enjoy this fight because Joet is fought for world championship twice. That fight with Navarrete, he got some good shots in there. That's an opponent that also Isaac Dogboe lost his title to and got knocked out in the rematch.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a feeling Joet could put his punches together and wear him out and probably put him away because the kid likes to dance when he gets hurt. He got lucky. He got that NABF belt anyway because it was going the distance. He won it by going the distance with Lopez. So this fight, if he stuns the kid and knocks him out, he knocks out Isaac Dogboe, I could see him having a rematch with Navarrete unless Navarrete vacates and he gets a chance to fight for the vacant belt.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. And it makes a lot of sense for Top Rank too, right? Because that's all
in-house.
Yeah,
and it's a top, it's a 10-5 fight. The guy did pretty good. He won the distance with Shakur at 126, and then won the distance with Navarrete. I don't know if I think his resume to me, the opponents that he fought are much better than Isaac Dogboe. And Isaac Dogboe is too small, and when he gets hurt, he likes to dance and he goes on his defensive shell. So I'm going for that fight. I'm going for him by early round knockout.
Early round knockout.
Thank you for having me. I'm going for Joet Gonzalez.
Right. But you think it's gonna be early rounds? You can talk like second, third round, something like that.
Well, if he tags him good and the guy can't dance because it's a 126, a true 126 pounder.
Yeah.
And the other guy is a 5'2". He moved up in weight. Basically, he went on 126. He's been boxing. He hasn't been stopping anybody. I don't think. I think Dogboe only stopped this guy, Chris Avalos, when he first moved up.
Right.
126. He knocked out Chris Avalos, but he hasn't knocked out anybody else. And he's been having a life and death fights with everybody. So in this fight here, I'm picking Joet. I think Joet could put him away, and if not, he'll go the distance, but he'll win. And there'll be a rematch with Navarrete unless Navarrete is in case. But to look at the truth, right? What is there in 130 pounds for Navarrete? I would say I'll stay there because anybody he meets at 130, he's gonna lose.
Yeah.
He's gonna lose. He's a big. You know what I'm saying? He's good but not good enough to fight Shakur. Not good enough to even beat Oscar Valdez. I don't even think so. If I was him, I'll stay in 126 unless he goes out the way and he goes up there. I think he even have a hard time beating Chris Colbert. So if I was him, I'd just stay at 126, defend that belt. And he probably even have trouble with Joet. So I think he's done. He's gonna probably be tired soon. He peaked already, Navarrete. So thanks a lot for having me on, and you have a great day, okay, buddy?
Thanks a lot, man. You too. All right, there he goes. Yeah, man. Wow, early rounds knockout. Now, look, I could see Gonzalez getting the stoppage, but I would think it would go. I think this fight's going to go rounds. I think Dogboe is a tough fighter, veteran fighter. He's been in there with some top guys, and this is at least going into the second half, but I could definitely see Joet Gonzalez late stoppage. I wonder what the betting line is in terms of the over-under. That would be interesting to see. Keith in the chat says, I would like to see Thad's betting take on Gonzalez Dogboe. Yeah, me too. I'm curious because he would know the odds. He would know the line and everything like that. Aaron says, I could not care less about Spence Crawford. I'm kind of there too, man. I've talked about this before. If they get it done this year, obviously that's a pay-per-view. That's probably a Fox pay-per-view, right? And I understand why that would go to pay-per-view, and I would actually support that pay-per-view because that would make sense to me. It's not going to be the greatest tactical fight. or I'm sorry, it's not going to be the greatest, most entertaining fight. It's going to be a tactical fight. So a lot of people are thinking this is going to be like knock down, drag them out, and it's a rivalry and all this. Nah, man, like these kind of matchups, if you look throughout boxing history, 9 times out of 10, they end up being very technical kind of fights. So I think that's what I expect when I finally get it together. The more time that happens, between now and when the actual fight takes place, the more time there is, that benefits Spence. And that's why PBC has been waiting him out. Regardless of all the excuses they've given you, it really wasn't Bob Arum holding it up. The main goal there was to wait this thing out. And so I just don't see how they can wait it out any longer. If they don't get it done this year, and that fight happens next year, I can't support it. I can't support it. The only way I would is if it'd be on regular TV, which it won't be. It would be amazing if they got that. Now, look, I totally would wait till next year. If, let's say, they put that fight in January, February, and it was on regular Fox, and they had to wait until the new year, the budget opens up over at Fox, and Fox spends a bunch of money on it, 100% I'd support it. But we all know that won't be the case. That's going to go to pay-per-view. And if it's going to do pay-per-view, it's got to be this year. That's it. Bottom line. Let's see. James Tech with the super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He says, it's a pleasure for me to support the best boxing podcast on the whole of YouTube. You're doing great. You're doing a great job. Much love to you, Tiff, and the ever-expanding family, I should say. Stay blessed. Thank you so much, James. I appreciate it. Man, I'm losing my voice. I've done too much talking over the last couple of days. Man, I'm losing my voice. I did the Roundtable podcast last night. That was a lot of fun. And I've been training. I've been doing 2-a-days the last few days. So I'm a little sore and beat up right now. But as you guys can see. But I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much, man. And speaking of my wife, Tiffany, she is still in the second trimester, but she's at the very, very end. This might be too much info for you guys. But she's about to hit that third trimester. And they say that when that happens, the pregnancy gets really difficult, because the second trimester, I guess women are usually very comfortable. That's the best time for them, the most comfortable time. Then the third trimester hits and it starts to, they're big and everything. So Tiff is like right there. And this week she's been kind of fatigued, and it's getting a little harder for her to get around. She's absolutely showing now. I mean, you could see, right? And if you guys follow me on Twitter and stuff, you may have seen some of the pictures I posted when we went up to Chicago last weekend and stuff. So this week I kind of saw just that little change, like that third trimester is coming. And also it's the middle of the summer, man. It is hot as hell out. And for her to be as pregnant as she is in the middle of a hot Atlanta summer, it's got to be tough. So I'm just trying to do everything I can to be supportive and treat her good. You know what I mean? So we'll probably be going to get her ice cream this weekend and things like that. And like, I might have a bite, cause I can't be eating shit like that right now. I got another fight coming up in September. More on that as we get closer to it, guys. I don't want to talk too much about it right now, but it was going to be in August. It got pushed back to September. So I'll talk about it as we get closer to it. But yeah, like I got to watch her eat the ice cream and have like a bite, watch her eat the brownies, have like a little bite, you know what I'm saying? That's all I could do. So it's torturous for me, but I know it's a lot harder for her. So I'm just trying to be, as they say, supportive. Sam A in the chat says, Joet is a -280 favorite. Yeah, that sounds about right. Sam, do you know what the over-under is in terms of the stoppage and all that? That's what I'm curious about, because like again, Suleiman said early rounds knockout. That would be surprising. That'd be a big statement from Gonzalez. I don't see that, because I'm trying to think when Isaac Dogboe, I'm going to look this up just to be sure, but I believe when he got stopped against Navarrete, that was late in the fight. That was, I want to say like maybe the final round. It was. Okay, I'm just looking it up. In the rematch in 2019, and keep in mind, guys, this is at 122. I don't know how the hell Navarrete made 22. Dogboe was down in round 6 and 12. The referee stopped about after the corner threw in the towel in that 12th and final round. So he went rounds in that fight. However, right after that fight, he moved to 126, Isaac Dogboe. He got a TKO over Chris Avalos, as Suleiman, talked about. But also, his other 2 wins after that were majority decisions. They were close fights. You know what I'm saying? So you have to favor Gonzalez here in this fight. Gonzalez, in terms of power, he's got a 55% KO percentage. So, he's got respectable power, but not really a huge power puncher. And let's see, he's coming off a KO win. I'm just looking at his resume here. He's never KO'd an opponent that has this, this level of opponent, of opponent with this much experience. So this would be a big win for him. It'd be a big win for him. And it could set up. So Joet Gonzalez has lost twice. Shakur Stevenson, Emmanuel Navarrete, those were very one-sided fights, but he did go the distance, and he's never been dropped or anything like that. So those are both at 26. So I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch between him and Navarrete, and I think that makes a lot of sense for Top Rank. I don't want to see a rematch between him and Stevenson because that's a complete whitewash at this point. The first fight was. But anyway, all right, back to the chat here. Game Boy says, if the World Boxing Super Series Muhammad Ali Trophy was bigger, it would be the best thing for boxing instead of all these fights when you want to crap. The biggest problem with the World Boxing Super Series was the global scope of it. It was hard to work with so many different promoters and get so many different fighters. They also, I think, did too many divisions. I think they should have focused a little more on maybe one. But the second season, they had, 3 divisions? I think it was just a little bit too much. It worked, just too many moving parts. COVID really, really screwed it up, though, man. COVID really hurt what they were trying to do. But then also the money and everything. It's difficult with the funding and helping people get paid and all that. It took a while. Who was it that didn't get paid for a long time? There was one fighter that really, really complained. I think Regis Prograis didn't get paid for a long time. That goes back to season 1. That was before the COVID and all that. But I know that there are people during season 2 that complained about getting paid and stuff like that. So it's just a big, big ordeal, man. Big ordeal. Jack in the chat says, answer the phone, Mike. I got to go to dinner soon. Oh, okay. All right. We got a few callers here. Yeah. Okay. One of those is definitely Jack. All right. Let me jump to the phones here. Real quick though, odds. Sam says, so the over is 8.5, 350. The under is 8.5, 260. Okay. I don't know, man. Maybe Suleiman's onto something if you bet the under. But correct me if I'm wrong, guys. So if the over-under is 8.5, I think the way it works is the fight has to go 9+ rounds for the over, and it has to end in the 7th round for the under. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I think that's the way it works. Okay, let's get to the phones here. Let's get Jack. Because it's his world. We're just living in it. All right, what's up, Jack? What you eating for dinner tonight, man?
No, this is Quandale Dingle. No,
Quandale Dingle.
Jack. Just spaghetti. I know that's your favorite. It's my little birthday. So
little racist. Little racist.
It is. I got spaghetti with you before. Dude, I got spaghetti with you before, and you said it's your favorite. I literally had spaghetti with you.
Yeah. Well, I don't go out for pasta, man. I cook that shit every now and then. Every now and then I'll go out for it. But yeah. Well, okay. From where though? Where did you get pasta from?
I think it's called like OP something. It's called Ipolati.
Oh, that's hilarious. I don't know. You'll have to text it to me or something. You have to DM it to me.
Yeah. Anyways, so I texted you saying how the WBA ordered Lara versus Golovkin after, and I don't think that fight will happen, but hypothetically, gun to your head. So the Lara that just fought Spike O'Sullivan versus the Golovkin that just fought Murata, who wins and how?
Golovkin decision.
You don't think he knocks him out?
No. It's possible. But with Lara's long ass arms and all that, I think he can maybe go the distance. My bet, would be Golovkin points. Because Murata just stood there to get hit, and Lara would move a little bit. He's not as elusive as he used to be, but Lara has really good length. I've talked to a lot of people that have sparred him and stuff. He's a tough guy to stop, man. Tough guy to hurt.
No, still, but Golovkin would be so accurate, and he can land on any fighter that's good defensively. The reason why it took so long to get Murata out of there was because Murata has a skull that's 2 times as thick as the average human being, and most of those, literally, he does. And the shots Golovkin's landing on Murata, Lara couldn't take it. I don't think anyone. Well, Canelo probably, but that's about it. I think Golovkin would stop Lara. But I mean, remember, Lara by Hurd. Who do you think would win between Hurd and Golovkin at 154?
That'd actually be a really good fight, man. Just in terms of the action, just in terms of the styles, that would have been a really fun fight, prime for prime.
The Luis area.
Huh?
Prime for prime, Golovkin would steamroll him. Are you
steamroll Jarrett Hurd? I don't know about that. Listen, man. Jarrett Hurd is how tall is Jarrett Hurd? Jarrett Hurd is 6 feet tall. Never been stopped. I think. I mean, it's possible that I would favor. I'd favor Golovkin to maybe hurt him. But to me again, that'd probably go to decision. I mean, Hurd's a big guy. Big guy, and then Golovkin cutting the 54. He could certainly do it, but I do think it may affect him a little bit. Keith Yatson saying you went to Olive Garden.
But no. What about Hurd at 160? Because Hurd his last fight at 160 versus Luis Arias, he got hurt and he lost.
Yeah, but he didn't go down. Now J-Rock dropped him. The way J-Rock fought Hurd is, I think.
Yeah. Triple G would kill Hurd. Yeah, Triple G would kill Hurd.
Different style than J-Rock, man. Different style. I think he'd chop him up, and I think he'd beat him. But I don't know. He could stop him, but I don't know. I'd have to think about that, man. I have to think about it.
Man, I'm disappointed in you for that. I mean, look how much Lara hit him. You don't think? J-Rock was able to knock him down. You don't? Yeah, Hurd was a human punching bag. That's what Aaron said. Yeah, dude, Mike, I love you, man, but if we're talking about prime for prime, especially at 160, because Hurd could make 160, dude, it wouldn't go 6. It probably wouldn't even go 3 because Golovkin would hit him so much.
But come on, man. What evidence have you seen that Hurd would get destroyed in 3 rounds? I don't know about that. Now, late knockout or something? Absolutely.
Just because.
Absolutely. But
he fights a power puncher. He fights a power, for example, if you ask me Lemieux versus Hurd, prime for prime, I'd pick Lemieux to knock out Hurd because he would just do you remember Lemieux versus Benavidez? Hurd gets hit so much, and if you hit hard, Hurd, he gets hit just way too much.
Yeah, he does get hit a lot. I think Lemieux could definitely knock him out with his left hook for sure. He could definitely. Yeah,
if you love Mike, you must agree with him. No, not on that. Anything Triple G, I got to. And then one more thing, because I got to go to dinner soon, like I said. And then I remember you saying Roy Jones would beat Golovkin in an 8-4, 7-5 type of fight. But dude, I think Triple G's jab would give Roy a lot of issues and stop Roy in his tracks from getting a lot of offense down. And that would be a competitive fight. That definitely wouldn't be. I might even favor Golovkin if he just catches him right. Because Roy Jones, he just never really got hit. And if he got hit once from Golovkin, it could just surprise him.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Triple G hurt Roy Jones, and his jab would definitely offset his timing. But Roy Jones at 160, dude, he was nasty. It might be the best fighter that I've seen in my lifetime at that weight. Definitely the best fighter in my lifetime that I've actually watched live at that weight, just talent-wise. Now, does that mean he couldn't get caught? Of course not. I mean, Triple G could catch him with something, hurt him with something, of course. But just betting odds, look, man, Vegas betting odds, they'd have Roy ahead in that matchup. They absolutely would, and for good reason.
Yeah, that's fair. But it seems that you don't think Golovkin is that hard of a puncher. And I'll say he's a hard puncher, but it is kind of overrated. This is coming he's just so technically sound, and he lands so accurately that he puts guys to sleep just because he's such a smart and brilliant fighter with his timing. That's mostly, but he does have heavy hands. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. Heavy hands, but he beats guys down and he kind of wears guys down, and it's accumulation type stoppages. He's not the kind of guy that's like slept high level fighters with just like one punch. It's usually he breaks guys down, right? So, because to me, like prime Triple G, like the peak I've ever seen him was in that Lemieux fight. And he put an absolute ass whooping on Lemieux, but he wore him down systematically. It's not like he slept him. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different it's a different kind of power.
Yeah. I think that Ashita, the fight that was 2 years prior is prime Golovkin, because if you look at Ashita, he went up to heavyweight, never been knocked out. He went 12 rounds with Dimitri Pirog, 12 rounds with Paul Williams. Those guys couldn't hurt him once, and Golovkin knocked him unconscious with one punch. I think that's prime Golovkin. And no, because if Golovkin in his prime, he still hits hard, because Daniel Jacobs, I know Daniel Jacobs, he had a bit of a chin issue early on, people said, because, I mean, he had cancer in that one fight. His grandma just died. He was 22, and he got knocked out with one punch by Dimitri Pirog. But after that, dude, and he got dropped with a balance shot off Sergio Mora. But, dude, Daniel Jacobs has a chin. That dude really brought his chin back. I mean, Canelo didn't hurt him once in that fight. Derevyanchenko didn't hurt Jacobs. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who was actually trying for 5 rounds, couldn't hurt him. John Ryder, he's a decent puncher, landed a ton, didn't hurt Jacobs. But Golovkin was able to hurt Jacobs and knock him down. So that shows this Triple G, because I'll say I think Daniel Jacobs now has like an A-level chin. It's weird how he just switched up like that. But enough Golovkin talk. You know he's the GOAT. He's the absolute GOAT. And yeah, man, you have a good night.
All right, you too, Jack. Enjoy your pasta, man. Peace.
Yeah, see?
All right. I'm gonna jump to I think this is Chad, because he's calling from Canada, so he's long distance. So I'm gonna skip over a couple of you guys here and get Chad real quick. Chad, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, Mike. Thanks for taking my call, brother.
Yeah, man.
You hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
You hear me okay? Okay, good. Yeah, I just wanted to ask you something quick, and then I'll just listen. I'll hang up and listen to what you think. But I saw today that Shakur Stevenson is fighting Gonzalez, which, by all accounts, I guess is a good fight. But I'm just wondering what you think, because after Stevenson beat Valdez, and there was talk about him cleaning out the rest of the division to get the belt, and Top Rank or Bob Arum it was reported he was saying that there was no money in those fights. He wasn't interested in making those fights happen. Realistically, those two fights could have been before the year's end, if you think about it, for a guy like Shakur's caliber. And now I see that he's going to fight Gonzalez. And I mean, where's the money in that fight as opposed to unifying? I mean, is there something I'm missing here? Like, this is the trend I see in boxing. Like, we hear about, we shouldn't make this fight or that fight. There's no money. But then they end up making a fight with another average type of fighter. And I guess I'm missing the puzzle here. Like, what am I not getting about that?
So
anyway, man, I'm going to hang up and see what you think about that.
Okay, cool, Chad. Hey, good luck to your son. I know he's got a tournament this weekend, so good luck, man.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, ciao. So
bye.
What I'd say, Chad, is when it comes to Robson Conceição, is you got to remember the international money. Not that there's a ton of it, but he is a star in Brazil, where he's from. He's a 3-time Olympian. He fought in the 2008 Beijing Games, 2012 London Games, and the 2016 Games in his home country in Rio. So that alone brings in some international media presence. Plus, he's promoted by Top Rank. Top Rank knew what they were doing when they signed him out of the Olympics, right? So he does have that background. And I think that those fights, or that fight, is a good in-house fight for Top Rank. It's also a really good developmental fight for Shakur Stevenson. Conceicao's lost once. It was a unanimous decision to Oscar Valdez. He went the distance. It was fairly one-sided, maybe 8 rounds to 4, 9 rounds to 3 kind of a fight, fairly one-sided. But it was good fight for Valdez. I think this will be a great developmental fight for Shakur Stevenson. I'm looking here at the other 2 belt holders, because Stevenson at 130, he's got the ring belt, so he's the champ. He's got the BC and the BO. The other belts are Roger Gutierrez from Venezuela. He's got the BA, and Joe Cordina from the UK has the IBF. Now, Roger Gutierrez, probably not too much money in that fight. But Joe Cordina, he's a UK fighter. I actually think that's a good fight. And I think it'd be great for Stevenson to travel to the UK to take a page out of Devin Haney's book and stamp his passport and do that fight. Maybe Top Rank and Bob Arum are targeting that for next year. Here's the question, though. Who represents Joe Cordina? I think I know who, but I don't want to say the wrong thing. So let me double check here. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I knew it. Who represents Joe Cordina? It is none other than Eddie Hearn in Matchroom. And Bob Arum, for whatever reason, absolutely fucking hates Eddie Hearn in Matchroom Boxing. So I think that's going to be a big, what's the word I'm looking for? A big roadblock to getting that fight done. And that's Bob Arum just being a stubborn old asshole. And he just really has this beef with Eddie Hearn. It's kind of bizarre how much shit he talks about him. And a lot of guys talk about Eddie. A lot of the American promoters just can't stand the guy. And I don't know. Some of it has to be, I'm not going to say jealousy, but he is doing some innovative things and really getting his fighters paid well and getting very, very paid well himself. His budget at the end of the year, his checkbook, his balance sheet looks a lot better than some of these American promoters. And there's several reasons for this. But man, I talked to a few American promoters that like say really bad things about Eddie. They're just like, he's a disgusting pig. He's a piece of shit. He's a terrible human being with no morals. They really don't like the guy. And Bob Arum certainly doesn't. So maybe that's going to be a roadblock for the fight between Stevenson and Cordina. I really hope Bob Arum can just look past that shit, eat some gummies, smoke a joint because he's a pothead, and just relax a little bit, breathe, and make that fight next year. Because Stevenson Cordina, it's a one-sided matchup. I'm not that interested in it. I actually think Robson Conceição will give Stevenson a better fight than the other 2 belt holders in the division. At least as much of a fight as Cordina will give him. But I still want to see it. I still want to see him stamp his passport, Stevenson, and go over to the UK and fight over there, because that builds his brand up with boxing's hottest, fastest growing fan base right now over in the UK. And let's not forget, there's a lot of different fan bases around the world, but they speak different languages, okay? The UK fans speak English. So if you're an American fighter or an American promoter, manager, whatever, representing an American fighter, you should want to develop your fighter's brand in the UK, because your fighter can do interviews over there, can do media work over there a lot easier than they can do in, let's say, Latin America or Japan or something like that, Italy, Spain, whatever. So it just makes sense. And I hope that Bob Arum and the folks at Top Rank get that. You know what I'm saying? I hope they I hope it clicks for them, because there's not a whole lot for Shakur Stevenson at 130, man. There really isn't. Go for those belts. Build your brand. Super chat pledge from Sam A. Thank you so much, Sam. He says, in my opinion, the best bet is Joet by KO or TKO at plus 350. Damn. So Sam, that's just straight stoppage? Doesn't even, whether it's from a punch, ref stoppage, corner stoppage, just KO or TKO plus 350. That sounds pretty good. But so you'd have to pay $350 to get 100. Yeah, I could see that. I can see that. So yeah, anyway, Chad, I hope I answered your question about Stevenson and Conceição. That's an in-house fight, and there's international money in it for Top Rank. That's why Conceição fought Oscar Valdez. I've talked about this before. If you look at what Top Rank does, it's very cookie cutter, and it's very paint by numbers. They have a certain system that they follow, and it's kind of predictable where they're going to go because of their track record. They don't really change a whole lot. They do spot trends internationally, and they invest in different international markets before other American promoters seem to catch on. That is one thing where Top Rank is way ahead of the curve versus like PBC and other guys, at least in America. But what they do is very cookie cutter. And you saw they fed Conceição to Valdez. Now they're just feeding him to Stevenson. And it's a I don't want to say stay busy fight. That would be unfair. That'd be disrespectful to Conceição because he's a good fighter. But it's in September. It's going to round out Shakur Stevenson's year. It's a title defense against a guy that, again, brings in that international money, but also has that Olympic pedigree. For those of you who are going to watch that fight on ESPN, be prepared to hear Joe Tessitore, Tim Bradley, and Andre Ward say Olympics 5 billion times during that broadcast, because that's how they're going to market it to casual fans. Shakur Stevenson was in the Olympics. Conceição was in 3 Olympics. You see, again, I go back to the cookie cutter thing. What they do is very, very simple, but it works. It works. There's a track record there. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Tony out in LA. He'll probably have a question about the WBA, I'm guessing. Tony, what's up, man? How you doing?
I have a lot of questions, but do you guys really think Golovkin's going to fight if he loses to Canelo or win?
You broke up. You broke up a little bit there. You were saying what about Golovkin?
Do you think he's still going to fight if he loses to Canelo or wins against Canelo?
Yeah, I think so. I think if he beats Canelo, he will defend his undisputed super middleweight championship one more time or something, then retire. If he loses to Canelo, he can go back down to 160 and defend those belts. And there's still money fights for him, dude. There's still fights that bring in 8 figures for him.
Beautiful. Even gonna wait after he loses?
Yeah. Golovkin and Jaime Munguia, I know people don't believe it, but internationally, if you include the Mexican money that's going to come in, that fight does business. And Golovkin has 2 unified belts. Munguia and his people would want them. The Mexican-American fans would want that. You could put that in Vegas at a casino, or you could do it in LA, and it'd do numbers.
Yeah, but is it Golden Boy and Matchroom kind of going at it over Bivol right now? Just on Bivol, do you think that they can make something like that?
I think they would, because it's easy to make. It's on the zone, and it makes sense. It makes dollars. It makes sense. So whatever's going on between them and all that, they'd work it out. I still think that's an option. I don't see Golovkin moving back down to 60 and fighting Andrade or Charlo or somebody like that. Although you never know, if PBC is like, we'll give you $10 million, maybe, but I highly, highly doubt it. I just see that as an option at 160. And then at 68, there are fighters he could defend against there. That would make sense, and he could get paid.
Okay. Did you hear the WBC made Thurman #1?
No. What, at welterweight?
Yes.
What?
Jumped over Ennis, jumped over I can't pronounce his name, Avanicio, and jumped over Ortiz.
Yo, I gotta look this up. See, man, I know you always have something with the sanctioning bodies, so I knew you'd have some WBC news or something. I gotta look this up. That's crazy, dude. What the hell? It's not letting me go to their site. I just tried to log onto the site and it's blocking me. Seriously, it's blocking me. This is hilarious. I'm going to share my screen to show you guys this. Because I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So I Googled WBC ratings. Check this shit out, right? WBC ratings. and I'm clicking on. Oh, it says your connection is not private. Attackers might be trying to steal your information from WBCBoxing.com. What the hell is that? I guess the WBC site is not secure. That's not good.
I don't know.
Man, somebody over there is mad at me.
I checked myself, and I did actually confirm it on the WBC site. So
Damn, okay, all right, that's hilarious, man. When's the last time Keith Thurman fought? Was it that Pacquiao fight?
No, it was Barrios.
Oh God, I forgot all about that Barrios fight. Holy shit! Yeah, that was in February.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And I think that's the reason that they're using to justify it. But
yeah, I love it.
Barrios. I don't know how you can play this one.
Barrios gets stopped by Gervonta Davis, and then takes Thurman the distance and wins a few rounds, and somehow that rates Thurman being number one. Dude, that is hilarious. Wow. So I guess Crawford's going to fight Thurman. I guess we have our answer here, Tony. You've solved the puzzle. This fall.
I don't know what this means. Okay,
it means,
I'm not going to make any calls.
No, I'm telling you what it means, brother.
Mean like Errol Spence.
No,
okay, I want to hear your opinion.
It means PBC is going to do two pay-per-views this fall. One is going to be Spence and whoever, and one's going to be Terrence Crawford versus Keith Thurman. Holy shit, that's crazy, dude.
But Crawford's the WBO champ. The only way Thurman's going to get a shot is at Errol Spence because he's a 3-belt champ.
But why would they bump Thurman up unless Uncle Al said, "Hey, we got to put pressure. We got."
I don't know.
Thurman and Crawford fight for the WBC interim or some shit, and then the next fight will be Crawford and Spence.
It could be that they made the fight and they want that fight as the next fight afterwards, like a multi-fight deal, and then a rematch if they need to. Or I don't know. They're just, it's making it very interesting what's going on with this Spence Crawford thing in the background. You know?
Yeah.
There's just too many variables. I can't figure it out.
That's fuckery at the highest level, man.
At number one, jumping those guys. Oh man, really?
Yeah. Once I can get to their site, because it's blocking me right now on this connection. I guess I got to try another connection, but I have to tweet that out because that's just hilarious, man. Jesus.
Did you hear that Andrade is calling out Eubank right now? He really does not want Alan Holland off.
I saw that. It's absolutely hilarious, but it doesn't surprise me. Look, if Demetrius Andrade dumps that BO title and doesn't fight Janibek, his career is essentially over. Nobody wants to work with him. None of the major promoters want to work with him. None of the networks do. Eddie Hearn lost millions of dollars working with this guy. Rock Nation lost millions of dollars with him. Nobody wants to work with him. So the only bargaining chip he has is that WBO belt. And he would gain fans fighting Janibek, even if he loses and it's entertaining. Maybe they can negotiate a rematch clause or so. I don't know. Although it's a mandatory, so probably not. But his back's really against the wall, man. It's his fault too.
He's good enough where I think he'll give a good fight against Alan Holland.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't think that's like a blowout like some people think. I think it's actually a competitive fight.
I want to see what he does, to be honest with you. I wanted to talk to you about the ring lightweight ranking.
All right.
Because Garcia's been fighting, that's 2 fights at 140. You know what I mean? And he's saying that he doesn't want to fight at 135. And he's ranked. And Keo's ranked at number 2, and he's going to be fighting Campos soon, and Comey's fighting Pedraza at 140 as well. And you have those 3 guys are all in the lightweight division. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's definitely something we've talked about. I think for let's see, Lopez and for Comey, I'm sharing my screen here just to show our ratings at 35. For those 2 guys, I think we'll wait until they actually fight at 140. But I'm with you with Garcia. I think it's unclear which way he's going to go, but he's had 2 fights now at 140. For the record, he wanted to fight against Fortuna at 35. It was Fortuna who wanted it at 140. So it's kind of mixed messages from Garcia.
I would believe people when they say that, but the problem is he says after the fight that, I don't want to fight at 135.
Yeah,
and I'm going to stay at 140. And I'm going.
He also says he wants to fight Tank Davis, even knowing that fight's not going to happen. I mean, he says all kinds of crazy shit.
Oh, that's not.
Yeah.
That no way in hell Tank is moving up to 140 when there was an open belt that he could have gotten, and he didn't take the chance for it. You know what I mean? So no way that fight's happening at 140. And I don't think Garcia is going to do the work to get to 135.
Yeah, I personally think he should stay at 140. I'd love to see him stay at 35 and fight Devin Haney. That's what I'd love to see, but I probably won't happen.
Well, it's safer for him at 135. At 140, it's a murderer's row up there. I don't know what he's talking about, because if he doesn't fight any real top 10 fighter, he's not going to be ranked by rank at 140.
Yeah,
there's just too much competition. But if he wants to fight top 10 fighter, he has tons of fighters. So I just don't know if he's willing to take it. I mean, he has Sandor Martin, he has Gyasov, he has Montano Love, he has Gabriel Valenzuela.
Yeah,
and
140.
Tank, I'm betting
the 140 division is pretty deep right now, man. Even guys like Ergashev, Barboza, Matthias, Catterall, Akhmadev, those guys, Russell, Sandor Martinez, you talked about, those guys all give Garcia problems. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. He should stay at 35. That division's Devin Haney's got all the belts, but the one thing, dude, is 140. The belts are getting chopped up because Taylor's been stripped.
Well, I know that. I mean, I wanted to. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm still waiting to hear from Catterall because it's crickets from that side right now. After Taylor dumped the 2 belts, and now Taylor's calling you out. He wants the rematch, and I don't hear anything from Catterall anymore. You know, he was talking so much before, but now nothing. Really?
Yeah, I think
I don't know. I don't know.
I was just going to say, I think he they're negotiating something and staying quiet right now. But yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. For the record, I think Taylor wins a rematch, and I think he wins it pretty decisively. I think that was just a really shitty night for him for several reasons.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just, while I think U.S. fans are bad, I think UK fans could be a little bit worse when it comes to trolling.
Yeah.
So I think he's been hearing a lot, you know, in his home country. So
yeah.
It's been grinding on him. So I think he wants to get this over with and move on to the welterweight, because I think he's just waiting for the fight with Crawford and Spence to be over with so they understand what to do with the WBO belt. And he might be aiming for a Ben fight later on if he can get that, but that's his own top rank game.
That'd be big.
And did you also hear that Manny Pacquiao's coming back?
I heard that, and I'm just like, you know what? I really hope it doesn't happen.
Exhibition.
I know.
Exhibition.
I'm sick of these exhibitions.
Raise money for Ukraine. So, I mean, I don't want, I mean, it's a huge guy that he's fighting, so I don't think it's too dangerous for him.
My thing is, too, man, like,
if he wants to be
I think it's wonderful if he wants to do that for the people of Ukraine who are indeed suffering. But the Philippines isn't necessarily doing great. You could raise some money for your own country, Manny. Yeah, it's not like they're kicking ass over there. There's some difficulties in the Philippines. So I don't know. It's just Manny. Oh, Manny. I love Manny. I love him. But him and Floyd and all these guys need to just go away. Just go away.
Let me ask you a question about how do you feel about the Edwards Martinez fight over there in I think 112?
Edward Martinez versus who?
Edwards versus Martinez.
Oh, Sonny Edwards. You're talking about Sonny Edwards. Let me see here.
Yeah, Sonny Edwards versus.
I thought you said Edward Martinez. I'm like, who's Edward Martinez? Julio Cesar Martinez versus Sonny Edwards, unifying belts. Well, my concern for Edwards would be, can Martinez make weight?
Oh no, he doesn't care about whatever tactics that he's gonna do because he's gonna have to fight in Mexico for it, and he doesn't care what stunt Martinez pulls. He just wants to fight. Doesn't care.
That's pretty badass.
And he knows it all. I gotta give respect to that game for sure. He's willing to I don't care what he does. I want to fight.
That's crazy, dude. Because so Edwards does not have the power to hurt Martinez. That fight would go the distance. I think Edwards could box circles around him, but do you get a decision there? And then is Martinez going to be juiced up? Is there going to be any testing? Is he going to be able to make 112? There's just a lot of question marks there. I'd rather see Edwards go after like Nakatani, somebody like that. But look, dude, if he ends up fighting Martinez, I mean, I'd love to see that. I'd obviously love to see it. That'd be a fun fight in terms of like styles.
Oh yeah, for sure. Last question is: do you think Top Rank should bid for the Joshua Usyk television rights in the U.S.?
Why isn't that's on DAZN?
Sky bought the UK broadcast rights for the UK right now, and I don't know what's going on in the US. It's been crickets right now when it comes to that.
Yeah, DAZN, so DAZN is in different territories, and every territory is different as far as like the contracts and stuff. But as far as I understand it, here in the United States, that's on DAZN. Now, maybe I heard wrong, but that's what I understand.
Confirmed?
As far as I know, yeah.
Well, no, because last I heard, Sky has the rights in the UK right now for the fight.
They got
Saudis are taking the bid for all broadcast rights, and it's not going to be like a hugely popular fight in the US, so Top Rank can actually get involved since they are tied to Sky somewhat.
They're tied to Sky, but they're not tied to these two fighters, right? And so this is an Eddie Hearn thing. So yeah, as far as I understand it, Sky Box Office, which is their pay-per-view platform, they won the bidding for that fight over there, and they just have a bigger budget. They're going to spend more money. But in the United States and pretty much every other market, it's going to be on DAZN, dude. As far as and just regular DAZN.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's all I really wanted to know, because I haven't heard anything after that UK fallout with Sky and DAZN.
Yeah, it should be on DAZN here, man. I'm pretty sure that we're got on DAZN.
Beautiful.
But man, I think you set the record for phone call, Tony. I think this is 17 minutes, bro. So I think you set the record.
Oh, dude, I didn't want to keep you on. I got to get you off the other callers. Thanks for the call, man.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Peace.
Have a good one.
You too. There he goes, guys. Yeah, Tony always has stuff about the sanctioning bodies. He's always got the latest news on them. I can't watch the sanctioning body news anymore. The WBA is just the worst. And then the WBC, again, I really like some things that they do. I really, really do. But man, if they really put Keith Thurman number one, how does anybody look at that and not just laugh their ass off? Let me get back to the chat here. Keith says, Mike, thoughts on Broner Figueroa? Yeah, look, so that fight's coming up. What date is that one? Broner's another person. I just really don't pay attention to him. That fight is coming up in August. Okay. Is that the same day as holy shit, is that the same day as Usyk? I gotta look this up. What day is Usyk? Now I gotta look up there. I think that's August 20 as well. Because that, I mean, boy, man, that's so shitty by PBC. Yeah, wow. God, they're the worst sometimes. Yeah, so Broner Figueroa is the same day, but here's the silver lining. The Usyk Joshua fight, if you're in America, if you're in the West, Usyk Joshua will be broadcast here in the afternoon, right? So you can watch both fights live. So you know what? It works out. It's okay. But as far as the Broner Figueroa fight, it's two underachievers, especially Broner. It'll be a fun, entertaining fight. They're saying it's going to be 140. We all know they're not going to make 140. It's going to be 147, somewhere at welterweight. Yeah, I'll check it out. If I got nothing going on that night, I'll check it out. But yeah, obviously the big fight that day is the heavyweight fight. I'm really looking forward to that fight. That fight, I will change my plans to make sure I see that fight live. Broner Figueroa, I'm not really changing plans. If we've got something going on with friends or I'm taking the wife out to dinner or whatever it is, I'm doing that and watching that fight on replay. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. Twal says, Jerron Boots Ennis ain't ready for a title fight. Everyone thinks he is, but he is not. Let's feed the champ with Keith. He earned it. I wouldn't say Keith earned it. Ennis hasn't earned it either, but Ennis is being avoided. Also, his management's been really, really poor. Some of these guys, I just don't understand. Like, they need to like Google marketing and take like an online marketing course or something, because Jerron Ennis should be a superstar, man. He should be I won't say superstar. He should be a star right now. He should be a known commodity in the boxing world. He should be every bit as popular as Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia with the teeny boppers. He really, really should. Oh, Twal said, I was being sarcastic. Damn, Twal, you got me, man. I totally believed you. Holy shit, dude. My sarcasm meter is trash today. So Keith said, yeah, just checked. Thurman is number 1. That's crazy. WBC is on that Canelo meet. Dude, that is madness. And why now? Why do that right now? Because we talked about the Barrios fight, right? That was in February. Why not do it then if that was your play? They did it now. And that tells me that there's negotiating happening behind the scenes between Al Heyman and the PBC, or I'm sorry, Al Heyman and the WBC. And if you don't think that the WBC does favors and stuff like the WBA does, here's evidence of it. They absolutely do. And they do a lot of business with Al Heyman and PBC, a lot. Just like the WBA does. And to be fair, the WBO does with Bob Arum and Top Rank. He pulls massive favor for them, okay, with them. But this move, dude, how do you justify this? It just tells me that Thurman is going to be in the mix between the Spence Crawford thing. Somehow, some way, he's obviously going to be in the mix, right? Because it doesn't make sense why they'd bump him up right now. All right, Sam is saying read the super chats. I don't see. Oh, sorry about that, Sam. Sam sent a super chat a while back. I didn't see it, brother. Thank you. He says plus 350 means $100 wins 350. 300 wins 1,500. Dude, that's so Sam. So if I bet $100 that Joet Gonzalez wins by stoppage tomorrow against Isaac Dogboe, if I bet $100 and he does, I get 350. Guys, that is a no-brainer bet. I don't bet. I don't gamble. But if you do, you need to jump on that shit if Sam's right about these numbers, because I think there's a strong possibility Joet Gonzalez could stop Dogboe. There's a strong possibility it goes the distance. Okay, there is. But he very, very well could stop him. So, man, if you could bet 100 and get 350, I think it's a pretty safe bet. Definitely. King KO says, WBC, we be crooked. Yeah, there's nicknames for all of them. Keith says, as of late, IBF has been the most decent sanctioning body. Yeah, I got to say they have. I don't like some of their mandatories, and they have some weird ratings and stuff. I mean, all of them do. But, all in all, the IBF and even the WBO are pretty good as far as following their rules. I just don't like how closely aligned the BO is with Top Rank and the BA and BC are with Al Heyman. I don't think that's cool. All right, we got one more call, guys. Then we're going to drop off here. Let me jump to this one last call. We're going to go to San Francisco. 415, you're on the show. What's up?
Mike, what's going on? It's your boy Luis.
What's up? How you doing, Luis?
How you doing? How you doing this weekend? Or how you doing this end of the week, man?
I'm tired, man. Had a hard week of training, brother. Hard week. I'm sore, man.
I hear you. It's almost over, brother. But yeah, about this preview, right? So I was watching this weigh-in or whatnot, and this kid from 209, Mr. Flores. I mean, I would have thought he would have learned his lesson when he fought the Venado last time, when he, talked his whole gang of shit and got his gang woke up and supposedly got humbled. And now he's fighting this other dude, which I ain't heard from, don't know from a can of paint, but dude got, pretty good record, it looks like. But what's your whole assessment about this? About not necessarily just Mr. Flores, but about these, I can't necessarily just say these young boxers, but just boxers in general who talk all this shit, get embarrassed, and supposed to learn from the mistakes, but don't seem to understand the part of maturing in the sport, like in life.
Well, that's just it, man. With Gabriel Flores Jr., he's 22, man. He's a kid. I expect kids to be kind of stupid. It's about the people you got around you, and he does have a really, really good team around him. But I guess they're feeling themselves a little bit too much, because when he went up against Lopez last year, Luis Alberto Lopez, he lost that fight basically by shutout. I mean, that was really one-sided. And then came back, and his last fight was a majority decision win. That was a close fight, right? In Fresno. And then this kid he's fighting, Giovanni Cabrera. I think he's originally from Chicago, but I think he trains at Wild Card now in LA. He's a pretty good fighter, man. This is a solid matchup. I think it's a big step up for Cabrera. Flores should be favored, but let's see how he looks. Because sometimes the trash talking and all that shit is just for the cameras to hype the fight up. If he gets in there and takes care of business tomorrow, that's really, in the end, all that matters. If he doesn't, then clearly he's letting this shit distract him, right? So let's just see if he can put on that good performance tomorrow night.
So let me ask you this, since you know something about Giovanni, because like I said, I don't know nothing about dude, never heard of him, but a lot of these guys, have padded records, obviously, but I mean, the guy looks, up to par as handling the situation, ain't, feeding into it, trying to stay focused. Like, is dude similar or more of a threat than the kid who gave him his first loss, the Venado dude?
I would say slightly less of a threat, because Cabrera doesn't hit very hard, not a lot of knockouts. His last couple of fights have been 8-rounders. His last 10-rounder before that was a split decision. If you look at the guys he's fought, nowhere near this level. So the record's nice and shiny and sparkly, but I think that when Lopez came in, he had faced better opposition. He had fought guys like Andy Vincent, who's a good fighter. And it was a close fight, but he won, eked it out. He had been in there with Ruben Villa, who's another good fighter. He lost that fight, but it was good experience for him. So he was way more battle tested. So I would say this is actually a step down a little bit for Flores, but the record looks good. And, they're going to use this as a marketing thing. But I think they know what they got in front of him. Unless Cabrera's got levels to him that we just haven't seen yet, But yeah, based on what I know about him and his resume, dude, I just think Flores has got way more class and experience and should win this fight.
Right. I mean, the matchmakers would want to not feed him to the wolves again, see him, because they're trying to hype him up to be, a marketing tool, especially, out of California. They see, we ain't got so many California sellers out here, how we had in the past, and because as of now, it's the NorCal area, should I say? I mean, since Ward's been, retired, I was basically the face of the Northern California. Ain't no upcoming boxers, and I know they're trying to promote him to build up, kind of like what they're doing with Ramirez and
right
in the Fresno area, whatnot. It's Stockton. Yeah. So I mean, I'm interested, man. I'm kind of looking forward more to that than the Joet. I was actually in Reno when Joet fought Shakur when Shakur won his first title, the vacant old Valdez's WBO, featherweight title. And I mean, Joet, I like the kid, but Dogboe, is also, kind of, he's changed his boxes as he's been with Barry Hunter. He doesn't do that. The whole yelling, the rolling yelling shit when he's throwing punches that, kind of taken away from him. So it should be an interesting card to say the least.
Yeah, it's a solid card.
I'm up for it. But you enjoy your weekend, Mike. It's always good talking to you, bro. Keep doing your thing.
Thanks a lot, brother. You too, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, as Luis said, I mean, this is a decent card. It's a decent doubleheader, and I think they got that undefeated Italian heavyweight Guido Vianello. I want to see him because anytime heavyweights are in the ring, I want to see them. They got a bunch of undefeated prospects on this card, so guys, you got to remember, fight cards in July traditionally, it's like the dead season of boxing. The whole point with boxing is you want to get fans in the seats. You want to get people watching. Right now, school's out and a lot of families are doing their vacations, things like that. So, for daddy to fly across the country to Las Vegas and watch a fight right now, it's not as easy right now as it might be during the school year when the kids are in school and stuff, right? So right now is the time for parents to get with their kids and do the family vacation and that sort of thing. So the boxing promoters know this. And traditionally during the summer, it's just kind of stay busy season. Now, it's changing more so now because boxing is becoming more globalized. And you do see bigger fights now in the summertime, especially overseas, right? Like, for instance, the Usyk-Joshua rematch. But traditionally, man, like July is pretty much the dead season, right? What you end up getting is matchups like this card tomorrow, where if you look at that main event, you got to be a diehard boxing fan to know who Joet Gonzalez and Isaac Dogboe are. But if you do know who they are, you realize that's a pretty good matchup, man. That's a good, solid contrast of styles and everything else, and it should be entertaining. And then if you look at the undercard, Flores, him coming back and fighting again, it should be good. It should be solid, right? But it's nothing that's spectacular. That's generally what we get. So for a July show, it's a pretty good card, Old Dirty Boxing with the super chat. He says, hit the like button and support. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, brother. And Sam A with another super chat. Thank you so much. He says, by the way, Rahman Jr. gives 25% of his purse per pound over. Okay, so what Sam is referring to is the fight between Hasim Rahman Jr. and Jake Paul. Apparently, there is a rehydration clause. And I talked about this. So I'm going to mention that to my coach when I see him Monday, because he doesn't know about that. Because me and my coach were talking about this, and we came to the conclusion, man, Rahman should just come in whatever weight he wants and pay whatever the penalty is. But if it's 25% of his purse per pound over, dog, if he comes in 4 pounds over, that's his whole purse. So he would be fighting for free. So obviously they're not going to do that. And I still think Jake Paul and his team know what they're doing by killing Rahman on that weight. And a lot of people out there don't realize that. And that's why Jake Paul has a real chance to win that fight. Seriously, as long as he can survive those early moments, because Rahman's going to be able to put some real leather on him early on and a lot of weight. He's a lot bigger than Jake Paul. But if Jake Paul can last past the first 2, 3, 4 rounds, Rahman does seem to tire. And he'll have a real chance to win that fight. I'm telling you guys, man. Details like that really matter. All right, I said that was the last call, but I lied. We got one more call. Nacho just called in. We're going to talk to Nacho, and then we're going to bounce and start our weekend, guys. All right? Let's get Nacho on the line. Nacho, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Hey, Mike, what's going on? Nothing much. This is kind of a, semi-dead weekend this weekend. Not really a whole lot of action going on except for the one card.
Right.
I just kind of had some questions of like certain, news things that I had. I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on a few different things. Like the first one was Danny Garcia did an interview last week where he basically said that he thinks at this point in time he's already a lock to be a Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about him saying that? And do you think he's delusional?
I personally think he's delusional, but there are certain writers I know who would vote for him. I could tell you some names right now that would vote for him. So I feel like the last few shows I've done some ranting on the Hall of Fame, and I don't want to beat up too much on them, but I do think that system is very broken right now. I would not vote for Danny Garcia in the Hall of Fame. I realize that he cleaned out 140 and he made some good money at 47, but like that's just not enough, in my opinion, to rate Hall of Fame. He just does not make it, man. Not on my card.
Yeah. And then the other thing, I mean, we've been on Twitter talking about it, but I'm not sure if people in the chat kind of follow the whole situation. Demetrius Andrade right now is just making himself look like a fool by basically, I think he overplayed his hand. He really thought he had all the leverage. He thought he was going to get what he wanted. And it kind of backfired in his face when I guess the demands that he was asking for to be signed somewhere didn't happen. And now he's out here trying to ask Chris Eubank Jr. to fight him. How badly did this situation blow up in his face, Mike?
Dude, can you think of a career that has been more poorly managed? And I'm not talking about just like for 1 year. I'm talking about the entire career. Can you think of a more poorly managed career in the last 20 years of a good fighter, like a really good fighter? I can't.
No. Honestly, no. There's been guys who have had spells in their careers where they made bad decisions.
Exactly.
But not like this.
Yeah, dude. Like, I remember when Andrade was a prospect at 154, and it was around the same time Triple G was really starting to come up at 160. And I remember thinking, the one dude right now from 54 to 60 that could give Golovkin real problems is this kid Andrade. I remember thinking about that, tweeting it, because I saw the length. I saw that he could switch hit. He has some twitchiness and skills. Not a hard puncher, but just his skill set. I was like, man, he's going to give people problems. And there was just one mistake after another. Walking away from that Charlo fight and that Showtime deal to go to Rock Nation, he made money. He made good money, but that really, really fucked him. And then with Matchroom, he made money, but that deal ended up not working for him. The one thing about Andrade is I can't feel bad for the guy because a lot of this is his own doing, but more than that, dude, he is a multi-millionaire. He's worth about $10 million almost. Can you believe that? A fighter like him who brings nothing to I should say he's made about that much money. I don't think he has that much, but his purses and everything. This dude's made a ton of money, Nacho. So I can't feel bad for him.
Yeah, no, I totally agree on that end. Yeah, he's made a lot of money, even though if you really think about it, he didn't deserve the money,
Exactly.
but because of the circumstances, he ended up getting it. So yeah, I definitely don't feel bad for him, but I just think the guy has shot himself in the foot time and time again. And I think at this point, he's just kind of run out of options, Mike.
Yep.
I really don't see what he can do now. Like, it's crazy, but it's kind of a weird ending possibly to his career, because he's not a guy who's in his mid-20s. He's 34 years old. I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of time left at this point. So for him to kind of be in no man's land right now, where nobody is really interested in him, and he's still under the delusion that he thinks he's one of the best fighters, it's crazy. But I don't know. We'll see. What happens with that whole situation. And then kind of the last thing I wanted to bring up, Mike, and I think it's a really, really interesting matchup. Shakur Stevenson's going to fight Robson Conceição. I think Conceição is going to be a live dog in that fight. I think Stevenson will still figure out a way to beat him, but I think it's going to be a very, very tough out. What do you think about that matchup?
I think that Conceição is going to give him problems with his experience and everything, but you got to remember, man, Oscar Valdez handled him pretty easily. I mean, it was competitive, but I actually think Stevenson's going to look good in that fight. I think he's going to have some issues early on, but the second half of that fight, I think he's going to control it and look pretty good. It's just a good developmental fight for him. I think Stevenson should win pretty clearly, maybe like 8-9 rounds. That's the way I see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking first 6-7 rounds, he might have a little bit of problems with him, but then eventually, as the fight wears on, I think he pulls away and wins a decision as well. Actually, there's one last thing really quick, Mike. I just thought about this. So someone posed a question yesterday about Brandon Lee, and they wanted people to kind of chime in on what we thought of his development so far in his boxing career. And I wrote that I felt that his career has been moved as slow as molasses. The guy has 25 professional fights and is still fighting developmental fights at this stage of his career. And he's 23 years old. In comparison, Virgil Ortiz and Ryan Garcia, who are 23 and 24, are pretty much considered contenders at this point. But yet Brandon Lee's fighting developmental fights at this point, and he's the same age as them. What do you think about the development of his career?
I completely agree with you, man. And I don't understand it, because he had a good amateur career. It wasn't an international amateur career, but for like a national amateur career, it was very good. He had like 200 fights, man. And I can't remember.
Yeah.
I want to say he won some golden gloves or silver gloves, something. I can't remember exactly, but he's got the experience, man. And yeah, 25 fights and 20 of the opponents are pretty much worthless. No disrespect to them, but as far as developmentally, they were kind of worthless. So I'm not sure, dude. That just comes down to management. And obviously, they don't feel comfortable moving him up. There's something that is getting in the way from them pushing him forward. They see something, and I don't know if they're trying to work on it or what, but it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, I just kind of get the impression that the kid is just treading water.
Yeah.
Like, he should be a lot further along, and he's fighting guys that he's waxing relatively easily. It doesn't make sense. Like, you would think that at some point they'd step him up and kind of put in there a legit former contender or maybe even a former champion to really test the kid. But it just seems like they're going in the opposite direction of that. It's really strange. I think the kid can fight, but it's just really bizarre how they're handling his career at this point. I don't get it either.
Yeah, he's getting some highlight reel knockouts here and there. I mean, his last fight went the distance. That might have been his best opponent overall, so it's not surprising that it went the distance. But he's getting some knockouts and stuff. But In terms of marketability, he's a marketable fighter, dude. He's half Korean, half Mexican from California. There's a lot of demos there that they could work, but they don't really seem to be marketing the kid at all. And he's willing to do shows. He's done my show. He's done a bunch of different shows. He'll do media work. It's one of those things, man, where I look at a fighter like him. I agree with you. He should be more developed, but he should also be more popular because he checks a lot of boxes. He's a good-looking kid, well-spoken, everything else, and no one's heard of him. So it's just kind of weird, man, the whole thing.
Yeah, for sure. I don't get what they're doing with him, but maybe at some point along the line, you'll see eventually what it is that they were trying to do. But yeah, right now I don't get it at all. It's really a strange way to develop a kid who I think at this point doesn't need any more developmental fights. I think he's ready to step up and fight some name guys.
Amateur fights? 200 amateur fights? Come on. All these pro fights you've been doing are basically a step down from some of the amateur fights, because in the amateurs, if you're going to tournaments and stuff, you know how it is. You got to fight top guys, so he's basically taking a step back.
Yeah. No, I don't get it, Mike, but like you said, but like I was saying, maybe at some point they will finally step him up, but yeah, I don't know. Time is ticking. He ain't going to be young forever. So I don't know. All right, Mike, that was my call.
All right, thanks, Nacho. Have a great weekend, man. Peace. I got a couple super chats here. Bang Mateo, thank you so much. He says, Mike, aside from the name, Eubank Jr., his career is so. Yeah, I guess the difference, dude, with Chris Eubank Jr. is he's actually done some numbers. And he has put some butts in seats here and there. He does have a brand. But yeah, if you look at his career, there's not a lot of substance to it. He's talked about doing a lot of fights that never materialized. So, and then Sam with another super chat. Thanks again, Sam. He says, some of the best fights this year have been on small cards. You don't need huge names to get great fights. By the way, I love Boo Boo, Demetrius Andrade, but he disappoints me. You're 100% correct, Sam. If you look year after year after year, I mean, if you look at fight of the year contenders every year, and you look at like the top 10 list, 7 or 8 of them are small shows usually, in front of like a few thousand fans. Very rarely do these really big fights live up to the hype. Sometimes they do. I think like Joshua Usyk will, I think Canelo Golovkin will, but a lot of times it is those smaller shows that do provide the best fights. But they are seen by people like us, boxing degenerates. They're not seen by the masses. You know what I'm saying? It's very rare that one of those smaller shows ever breaks through and casual fans see it. So there's that. And then as far as Demetrius Andrade, I'm telling you, man, I used to be really high on him. I really, really was, especially when he was still developing at 154. I thought, man, there's a lot to work with here. And they just made so many mistakes. I got to say it. Had he signed with Top Rank back then, and Top Rank had developed him, his career would have been very, very different. Very different indeed. All right. We are out, guys. This ended up being, man, see, I thought this would be a 15-minute show. And it ended up going for about an hour and a half with a bunch of great phone calls. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you Monday on the Neutral Corner. All right, guys? Peace. I'll see you at the